guys, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Toby. Now 29. And guys, say hello to my blue van is a muck. For those of you who are listening on Spotify, I literally have a mug that looks like my van, and it's kind of iconic. I found it on my birthday trip. And this episode, we talking about kind of like my throwback that I just had a couple days ago. By the way, I went out yesterday till, I don't even know, 3 a.m. I'm tired. And I had two gin tonic, and I usually don't drink, as I said. So if my voice is a little bit darker than usual, it's because, those, not hangover voice, but like this voice that you have when you had like less sleep than usual. So I need a couple more zips today of coffee. Anyways, guys, I am 29 now. I turned 29 3 days ago. My last my last time has begun in my 20s. 365 days. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a year left. Let's say it like this. And for my birthday, I returned or fee booked a tent, like a glamping tent in Tarifa, which is really close to where we live. And for those of you who have no idea, Tarifa is the place where I fall in love with VANLIFE. It's the place I have the most memories with. It was just, I didn't even think about it when we said we're going to go for 2 days to Tarifa. I didn't even think about that. This is literally the place where I fall in love with VANLIFE till we were there. And I figured out this place is full of VANLIFers. And then, I just realized, damn, Toby, this place I remembered was 2018 or 17. And I fall in love with Tarifa. For those of you who were never in Tarifa, you should definitely visit Tarifa. It's a small little town, a lot of kite surfing going on, a lot of windsurfing going on. Like, it is just a vibe. I love this place. It's magical. So anyways, we went there, and I wanted to go a little bit back in time in this episode. This is really spontaneous. This was not really planned. This was not what I wanted to upload, but I feel so melancholic. Is this even an English word? I don't even know, but I feel the vibes. I feel going back in time and talking about how I actually fall in love with VANLIFE and how this actually happened. And yes, just, let this podcast episode flow and be in the moment. And I didn't even wrote anything down. So I'm doing this all really spontaneous right now after a night out. But today is already Friday, and I have to edit this and I have to upload this. Anyways, so I went to Tarifa, as I said, like 100 times already. I remember so good the moment I fell in love with VANLIFE. I remember I actually followed Susie on YouTube. And at this point, she was not like, let's say, not like a big YouTuber. She was not like a big influencer. She just basically, I don't know if she started, but it was kind of like at the beginning of her VANLIFE era. So I followed her there, and I saw her van, and I was just in love with this van. I was just in love, and I was like, damn, I just came fresh from Hawaii, and I just felt like, I don't know, when I watched the whole YouTube thing of Susie, it was just such an inspiration. And it was crazy that I was basically fangirling her back in the days. Not fangirling her, but like I was just like, damn, she's living the dream, you know? So I ended up as a universe, sometimes the universe is so weird because I came back from Hawaii. I just got Buddy. He was a puppy. And I had a moment of like, I want to settle down and I want to study and I want to have a basic life. That was a 2 weeks period of my life. And after that, this is also a story when I decided to literally just quit backpacking, move into an apartment, get a dog, and work in a normal job. It lasted, as I said, for 2 weeks. I was living with a roommate I didn't really like. He had a cat, but he hated cats. It was horrible. But I still decided, and I studied like online and everything. I did everything. I literally thought of my life um is like this now. I'm gonna go up the career thing, and yeah, it didn't really work out. So, because I was in this Hawaii fever. For those of you who never been to Hawaii, it is a magical place. I spent like I think 3 weeks there, and I was sleeping in a tent because I couldn't afford anything else because Hawaii is fucking expensive. But I just came fresh back, and then I started to live in this apartment, and then I just moved out basically again 2 weeks later and decided, okay, no. In this period of time, I found Susie on YouTube. That was 2017, and so 2018, moving forward, I booked a flight to El Palmar, or to Malaga, and then I rented a car, and I wanted to visit a really good friend from Australia who was currently working in El Palmar. So I went there, and as the universe wanted to be like, I don't even know, like looking back at it now, it just all made sense why I ended up where I ended up and why all of this basically happened, because I met Susie, and this was so weird because El Palmar is a really small town. Like, it is literally really small. It's for surfing. There's like, I don't even know how many houses there are, but not many. Like, you can, it's like really, really small. You can call it not even a village. And when I was walking with my friend from Australia, because she was working there, and I was walking there, and then Susie just came out of nowhere in this place, and I saw her van and I was obsessed. For those of you who don't know, Tarifa and El Palmar are really close to each other. So it was all a throwback moment the last days when I turned 29, because I remembered every single day how obsessed I was with the idea, how I saw so many van lifers, and then we went to Tarifa for a day trip, and that's where I 100% fall in love with van life. Not only because I met Susie, but also when you go to Tarifa, it's like the mecca of van lifers. There's van lifers everywhere. It's crazy insane. And that's when it actually started, when I said, okay, as soon as I'm going back, I was working as a waiter, or bartender. I did both kind of thing. I saved up so much money. I saved up so much money to buy a van. And it is crazy looking back at it now, that when all of this happened, and it was 2017, 18, it's been like 6 years ago. And what happened in those 5, 6 years. And once I'm always a person, if I have a goal, if I have something that I really want, I'm going full in. So I was working 6 days a week. I was just working my ass off 12 hours a day to finally buy the van, to finally start this whole adventure. And that's why it was really, I don't know, it was a really weird feeling to be back. I don't know if you might have this as well. Like, if you go to a place where you have intense memories and then you return a couple of years later and you just feel like, wow, life was so different back then, because I didn't know what I got myself into. I was just like, yeah, I want to have a van. Little did I know I will like travel in this for 4 years, ship it to the other side of the world and everything. But it was a really beautiful moment. And you kind of realize how much you were growing, because then I actually realized, because I think I said it in another episode, that I felt like I was not really growing when I did van life. And now looking back at it, it is just, I was, or I am, but especially during van life, like now I kind of feel like I was growing a lot, because I put so much effort and time and love into this van, into this whole project. And what I learned is that sometimes if you want to do something, or sometimes if let's say you really want to travel, and you are, kind of not having as much money as you want, or you want it now, you want to travel now, you want to do all of this now, because that's me. If I want something, I want it now. Oh, Buddy's coming in. Let's let Buddy in. We haven't had him on the podcast for a while. Get up. Hup. There he is, my little bud. And why are you wet? I can see that you had a bath. Returning to the point that nothing comes from sitting around and waiting. And I always worked my ass off for stuff that I wanted, but I feel like this whole van life chapter was just something that I felt like was the biggest achievement, and kind of like you really have to work for it. And I guess it took me like 2 years till I actually moved into the van. And then I went again to Tarifa with the van. This was another moment for me, because once you have the dream, you have the place, Tarifa, you see what you want, then you go back to your old life. Everything sucks. You just don't like the life you're currently living in, but you have to go through this. You have to keep pushing yourself. You have to work for what you actually want. And then the moment I was starting my van life travels, and I actually ended up in Tarifa, right? There was a moment, and I remember it's really good, where I was like, damn, I made it. Damn, Tobi, everything was just worth it. I can't even express what this city or what this little town means for me. And, now going there again, celebrating my birthday there, and I saw a lot of vans. I saw a lot of people living in vans, and this is also something that I haven't shared, but I do want to get a van again. But don't get surprised now. It's not like I want to move full time into a van again. This will probably not. This will not happen. No, this will at least not now. Never say never. But if I decided to get a new van, and yes, I have to save up for this again, but I feel like, I don't know, something has really changed. I want to do van life again, but I don't want to do it that intense. I don't want to like go crazy again and like drive to China, whatever, or like like those crazy ideas. But I feel like having a van for a weekend trip is kind of nice. And now, since I was in Tarifa, and I saw all the vans, I was like, that would be nice, just going here for like 3 days with a van, just like doing weekend trips with Buddy, or I don't even know. So I probably will get a van at some point again, but it will be a little bit different, because I do enjoy everything I have right now, everything that I'm creating, everything that I'm building up, that I'm actually building a life here, which I do really appreciate. But I'm Travel Tobi, and I will always be Travel Tobi, and there will always be travels. There will always be this one side that wants to go out there and shit in nature. I'm just kidding. But, just being in nature is still a big part of me. And when we were in this tent in Tarifa, right? And I woke up in the morning, and I I heard only the ocean, the waves, and then the birds. It was just a really magical moment, and I can't really say, it's hard to really express what you mean because you have to feel it. But maybe there are people out there that have the same thing with a place, or I don't know. Usually it's places for me where I feel nostalgia. I can't use this word. Where you have just throwback moments. Let's say it like this. Let's just make it easy for everyone. And my actually episode today was I wanted to go into the topic of traveling rich versus traveling poor, because I experienced both, and I feel like it's a really interesting thing to talk about. How it is to travel with like thousands of dollars on your bank account or just hundreds of dollars on your bank account. Um, so I experienced both, and I feel like this is a really interesting topic because, yes, I'm a budget traveler, but it makes it big, insane different if you're traveling not poor. This is like maybe the wrong word, but traveling with less money on your bank account than having a lot on your bank account. Because trust me when I tell you this, even though it gets romanticized, saying, "Oh my God, yeah, if you can travel with like 500 euros or dollars and start a new life, or traveling." Um, and it will be magic. It can be magic, but it can be also the completely opposite of it. Because in my van lifetime, trust me, I was at the edge sometimes. There were moments where I was really at the edge, and it is not fun doing this. Because I'm living so much in the moment, and there were times where I was living too much in the moment. So I just spent a lot of money. But you're missing out on a lot of things if you're traveling with less money on your bank account. You enjoy it not as much as you know having more money on your bank account, so you can actually do funny things. And I can just say that I will not travel like with less money on my bank account again, because like it really has a big impact on your travels. It doesn't matter if you're living in a van or you are doing backpacking. Bro, there's a fly in here that really gets on my nerve. I will probably not do this again, traveling on a budget. That's to this topic, because I don't know, it just gives you, for me personally, I was more unhappy being having less money on my bank account. Buddy, what do you want? I can't concentrate like this. I had a rough night. Okay. Yes. By the way, Buddy is not even sleeping in my room anymore. Like he doesn't. He's only sleeping in Fee's room. I know this is random right now. But that's basically the short answer. That if you're traveling with more money, you're gonna have more fun. That's my experience, at least. There might be people out there that say, "No, I have the best time of my life with living 200 euros a month," which is cool, and you can do it. I did it as well. You can still have a good time. And I did had good times with 200 euros on my bank account, but it is just different. It is just a different kind of travel. And because that's a question that I got actually a lot, Toby. How much money do you spend? How much money did I spend traveling? And I have, if I look back at like the past 9 years of traveling or 10 years, I spent around like $45,000, $50,000, including buying the van. Um, so I was a budget traveler, I would say. And when I was living in the van, I mean, I did a whole video about it, how much I spent a month in a van. I don't even remember how much it was, but I would say around like 400 to 500 euros, and I could live in a van getting food and gas, but put on top like 500 euros for activities, so you actually have fun. Depends what you call fun, but if you're traveling in different countries, of course you want to experience the culture, you want to go into different restaurants, you want to you know, you want to do just some fun stuff. And yeah, so when people say they're living in a van, and there's a difference between living in a van or traveling in a van, for me at least, it's if you're living in a van in one place, it's you don't really care about, testing new restaurants, or like I was never in a restaurant when I was living in a van. Like I was barely going out for dinner or like going out for lunch or breakfast. I never really did this because I was on a budget. But especially Central America, where there's so many countries and you want to experience as much as you can, of course you spend more money. I think there were a month where I spent like 2,000 euros a month of gas, food, activities. So it's always good to have more money on your bank account. And I would say the first 2 years of van life, I was living a good life. I had a lot of money in my bank account, and then it kind of switched when I went to Central America. But we all know the story. I don't even have to go more deeper into it. So I do really actually enjoy now actually saving money and actually living. I'm doing both right now, which I never did in the van. So it's kind of like a fresh start. I feel like 29 years, like this era of my life now. I don't even care if I'm turning 30 next year, though, because I feel like my whole 20s, so much happened, so many changes, so many crazy thing that I'm thinking like, wow, what has my 30s to offer? I mean, I still have a year left, but yeah, I guess that's about it. That's about it. I put this really in like a couple minutes. I didn't went really into details now, but yes, please. Oh, all right.
Am I famous?
Hi.
I'm in the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm stuff.
And the mom.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. But I would say I will wrap this up now. I will say, guys, this was really spontaneous now. This was a really spontaneous video and a podcast episode, but I just wanted to kind of share this moment that I had this week. And I can't wait for the summer. I went to I could do this like a weekly thing, like what did I do in the week, what I have experienced, but no, I'll I will have topics, but this was really spontaneous right now. And but yeah, I drink out of my favorite mug now, the rest of the coffee, and then I would say I'm gonna take a nap now. And then I have to work. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching, even though this was a random episode, but I hope you still enjoyed it. And we see each other, of course, next week again. By the way, if you have anything you want me to talk about, then just let me know and we will go into that, because there's no rules here now, right now. There's no rules. I was even thinking doing specific things only on Spotify, things that might be a little bit different, topics that are, let's say, that has nothing to do with traveling or are more intense. So I was thinking just putting random episodes also on Spotify. So if you haven't been on my Spotify, you can go there, and there might be episodes coming up that I'm not sharing on YouTube for whatever reasons, because sometimes there are things that I just want to talk about, but I don't do it because then I have to put up the camera, and then all of this. So I might switch it a little bit up. I still do one episode on YouTube a week, but maybe I'm doing 2 episodes then on Spotify about different things. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day as always. And I would say we see each other next time. Adios, amigos.